A sunny Anglesey Circuit, Mercedes-AMG GT versus Porsche 911 Turbo. It's a perfect deadly rivals.
This is the most powerful version of the AMG GT, the S. It costs £110,000. Its closest rival from the 911 lineup is the £120,000 Turbo.
So off the 911 range, you take a GT3 or GT3 RS for track stuff over this Turbo. But I'm amazed at how well this thing copes on track. It's actually more fun here than it is on the road. On the road, you have to be right up it. You have to be pushing stupidly hard for it to come alive, for it to feel like you're accessing its performance, like you're getting all of the performance out of it. On the track, that's just how you drive anyway. So it really does come alive on circuit. Particularly a magic circuit like Anglesey. Anglesey in the sunshine, is there anywhere you'd rather be? I don't think so. Through this tight section at the top of the hill, this twisty complex, the traction is just mighty. Four-wheel drive, it means you can throw all the throttle at it immediately from second gear. The GT is going to have its work cut out to get anywhere near this car through that complex. And then through that quick fourth gear left-hander, you've got stability, you've got confidence in the front end. On the road, the steering's a bit vague. It's difficult to really feel much faith in the front axle. On the track, the loadings are much higher, and it's just not a problem at all. This long right-hander, it's terrifying on a quick lap. You're close to 100 miles an hour on turn in there. You need enormous stability, you need confidence in the car. And you have that in this 911, you really do. The engine is an absolute monster. Nothing accelerates like a 911 Turbo, unless you've got £1 million to spend on a hybrid hypercar. These things always feel like rocket ships. This one's no different. This car doesn't have Porsche dynamic chassis control, those variable active anti-roll bars, which cut all the body roll out of the car, and it's all the better for it. That system just robs the car of feel. You need to be able to feel the car leaning, you need to be able to feel where the grip is. And PDCC just takes that away. It's a much more enjoyable, much more expressive car without PDCC. And actually it's amazing how enjoyable this car is on circuit. It moves around. You can use tiny little weight transfers to change the balance. It feels well balanced. It doesn't just want to push or just oversteer. It feels agile, it's alert. It's amazing how much fun this car is on track. It's not a pointless squirt device at all. It really does move around quite nicely. What a thing. What a thing. Some cars just feel perfect the moment you get in them. This is one of them. I'm sat so low in the chassis. I've got this long bonnet reaching out way out in front of me. The steering wheel is in my chest. I've got this firm, supportive bucket seat. It's just such a great place in which to sit. It's such a beautiful cabin as well. It feels incredible on the road and on the track. It feels just the same. It's such a well-poised, such a well-balanced chassis. So this is the first time we've tried the AMG GT on track, and it feels like a proper sports car. It's more agile, more nimble than I thought it would be. But of course, it's an AMG, so it'll still play the hooligan if you wanted to. This engine, we've got a little bit less power than the 911, 10 horsepower or so, but it feels mega. It's so strong. It pulls so hard all the way to the red line. and the throttle response is really sharp as well. The gearbox, twin clutch, paddle shift gearbox, mega on upshifts. It's so immediate as soon as you pull the paddle. Maybe a bit of a delay on the downshift. It gives away something to the Porsche there. For a rear-wheel drive car with so much power, this car has got enormous amounts of traction. You really can feed in all the power, all the throttle from second gear onwards, and it just hooks up and goes. It doesn't quite have the same unbreakable traction as the 911, and through that tight, twisty complex, it will lose a bit of time there, I'm sure of it. But it's certainly not the wayward hooligan that you might imagine it to be. Something like an F-Type has much, much less traction than this car. It feels so poised and stable, it feels secure, with a really, really strong front axle through this quick right-hander. So this car's giving away something to the Porsche in terms of traction. But everywhere else, I don't know. It's so quick down these long straight sections. It's got such a good front axle. It's got good balance. It's going to be close. And we'll hand over to Dickie Meaden to find out which is faster, 911 Turbo or AMG GT.
The Mercedes on the left and the Porsche on the right, we're across the line. The 911 hits 98 miles per hour before braking for the first corner, compared to 93 miles an hour for the Mercedes. By the exit, the 911 is a tenth of a second ahead. Porsche puts its four-wheel drive traction to good use and accelerates harder out of the hairpin. At corner exit, it's 4/10 of a second ahead of the Mercedes. In the scary fast right-hander Church, the Porsche records a minimum speed of 83 miles per hour, 4 miles per hour faster than the Mercedes. By the exit, the 911 is a full second ahead of the GT. Having carried more speed through Church, the 911 hits a top speed of 141 miles per hour on the back straight, compared to 136 miles an hour for the GT. That increases the 911's lead by a further 0.2 seconds. Both get through the low-speed rocket cleanly, but they oversteer through the right-hander that follows. They both oversteer in the off-camber peel too. Through the tight, twisty complex, the Porsche pulled out another 3/10 of a second. Its four-wheel drive traction advantage helps it accelerate faster away from the corners than the Mercedes. They both get through the corkscrew without any dramas, but both oversteer in the final corner, the Mercedes more so. The 911 gets a better exit and accelerates harder down the final straight. It reaches 91 miles per hour by the finish line, compared to 83 miles per hour for the Mercedes. So the Porsche wins. It has a traction advantage away from the low-speed corners, it carried more speed through Church and reached a higher top speed on the back straight. It also suffered less time-sapping oversteer. The 911 records a time of 1 minute 15.2 seconds, 1.8 seconds quicker than the GT. The Mercedes-AMG GT is a brilliant sports car and it's quick around a circuit. The Porsche 911 Turbo, though, is even quicker.